back. Thank you so much for Fantastic Plus, our channel sponsor. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure your kids gonna enjoy it, and you might even enjoy it as well. So give it a try. Jade, so during the sponsor break, we're talking about the other side of the coin, right? What would you say to someone that approach you and you can see that they're maybe it's a long shot. They might not make it. How do you approach this delicate situation?
Yeah, it's a good question because you know probably more than they do and what they're not doing, but they don't. So it would depend on how they approached me. If they were like, very rude or something, I probably would either I might consider blocking them if they were really rude or just kind of saying I'm not interested or something like that. But if they were nice about it and they were curious, I would say, well, your profile isn't really making me feel like I know who you are. That's something that I tell a lot of people that don't have a bio section. Like, yeah, you have this great art or you have these designs, but I go to your profile, I don't know who you are. And that's something that I think is missing from the way that people do LinkedIn a lot of times is they don't look at it as this is part of their narrative, what they put forth. And so if you don't have a narrative, you don't have a vision, then it's going to be hard for you to get any kind of work because you're just doing the thing. You love it. I know you have passion for it. And I've heard that word a lot, passion and passionate, a little bit too much. But if you don't understand how that passion formed, what you're doing to cultivate that passion and where that passion is going to lead for yourself and for the companies you're interested in, you're not going to really stand out above the competition. It's not
Mm,
impossible. You may have great connections. People that, are not that talented may have connections and get a job because they know somebody. But if you don't, and you don't have those kind of connections, then you've got to manifest the best version of yourself in every aspect of your application. And that includes your profile.
whew, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
My
But I mean,
tagline
at the
is
end of the
it's
day,
yeah. I was going to
go
say my
ahead.
tagline is it's time to job search differently because that's how I see it. We live in a time where we have seen a lot of changes, obviously, with how people apply to jobs. And most of the time, you don't just go in and hand in your resume or just quickly apply. You have to think of it more strategically, but also look at it in a way that how can I make this something I even if I don't love it, something that I can find enjoyment and accomplishment in and be productive in so that I can get closer to my goals. That's why I feel it's time to job search differently.
I agree. I agree. That's wonderful. Well, I'm grateful that you're doing what you do, Jade, because it's necessary. I read the other day that nowadays, because of AI, right? We touched on AI earlier on the podcast. Because of AI, there's a lot of people that are applying with AI, and a lot of companies who are using AI to review those applicants. And there's this there's shadowy AI war happening in the background between people looking for jobs and people trying to hire. And at the end of the day, that was the conclusion of the article that I read. No one's getting hired because of. Have you heard about any of this? Is this true?
I think it's like the ATS, the applicant tracking system, that kind of like if you don't have the right kind of words that match the position in your application, it may reject you. I don't know exactly how all that works because I haven't been in HR or talent acquisition. Um, but at the end of the day, you know, it's yeah, you need to be aware of that and do what you can to include words strategically that it would pick up and recognize this is a person that would be qualified for this role. But at the end of the day, they're not just going to choose somebody because a resume has some words in it that match. They're going to choose a person that they want to be a part of this team. And that means that rather than just thinking about the surface level words, you have to understand language, the language of yourself, your offer, your value, your mission. your genre of work that you do, your tools, your approach. There's all of these different things. I look at it as like paving the way: perspective, approach, vision, and expertise. When you understand how all of those kind of work and how to specify each one, you can help pave the way to have the kind of career that matches what you see, what you but that comes with, oh, I got to do this now. Yes, it's frustrating, but again, otherwise it's more of playing the lottery, and you want to be able to give yourself as many chances as possible. So knowing those things is going to be easier for you to make those connections and get closer to the opportunities you want, and even make your own opportunities happen.
So perspective, approach,
Vision and
vision,
expertise.
pave the way. I see. There you go. So there's a way, guys. Without going through a lot of details, right? I know interns in the game industry that tell me, Bruno, like, I just cannot find a job. And from what I'm hearing from this interview that we're having right now, there's a way. You just need to be a little bit more attuned and aware how to do it, how to navigate this way. Yeah, and we are learning here on BRUCAST. Thank you so much, Jade. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Listen, it's tough. Even if you do these things, there are no guarantees. It's more of just what because when you do this, it's like really understanding yourself so much more, so that when you're applying, you at least have those questions answered in yourself of where what am I doing with this? Like, why am I love this, but like, why do I love this? Why do I do it in this way? It answers a lot of questions for you. And like you were saying earlier about focusing in on one place, it's about understanding that alignment so that you are not targeting places that are just short term. There are no miracles, at play, but there are, like I said, there are things that you can do to make those things happen.
Let me run something by you.
Sure.
A colleague of mine, he was trying to get a job in a certain company, and it was just impossible for him. So what he started doing it instead, he's like, okay, so that's not on the table right now. I cannot get in that company right now. I'm just gonna create my own version of their games, and he started releasing his own versions of their games, but it's like with slightly variations, so it's not a direct copy. And I was wondering, let's say that for whatever reason he decides to apply there again, right? And they look at his profile. How do you think the fact he's already developing his own versions of his own game would be perceived by this company? Would they see that as, wow, this guy is super motivated, let's hire him right away? Or no, 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 this guy, it's it's danger, like he's dangerous, it's a competition. Like, what do you have to say to
Uh,
this guy?
I mean, first of all, I'd have to know like why he did it exactly, to like copy, like not copy, but like do a version of their games. Like he just loved them so much he wanted to find his own version of them. Then that's what he needs to tap into, because otherwise, it does seem like he's doing that is competitive for them. So he'd have to really show he's not competition. He'd have to show the reason that he did this and emphasize just how much that place inspired him, and in the ways that they inspired, the way that he approached design, um, and show why he would still want to work there if he's already created his own versions. So there's a lot of storytelling that needs to be done there for him to be seen by them as, okay, we get it, and we see, how you would fit. Because at this point, if he's making their games, other than being paid for it, like what would make it be like he still needs to work there? He already has done his own versions of them.
So we go back to the narrative and how you present yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like It clearly was inspired, and understanding that inspiration, what choices he made because of that inspiration, and how that's going to benefit the company. Maybe he made some improvements. Maybe he troubleshooted things and he recognized this wasn't working. I know how to do that, and I want to do that on future games with you. Whatever thing that he could show through that work that would be something that they would need, that would solve a problem that they have, that he's noticed, then they could see this person being fit for their company. He really has to sell that he's still a good choice for it. He's not competition. He didn't do anything, illegal or anything. And he really does want to take this to the next level with them.
I see. Whew. Yeah, I won't go into details about this acquaintance, but the thing is, he just needed money, right? He was not finding a job, so he decided to create his own games
No.
with the hope of getting some money. But he's still open anyway. So it's all about how he presents himself, the story that he's
Yeah.
telling to the company, how he can fit into their culture, because the culture is also something that every company takes into consideration, right? They have their
Yeah.
own cultures, and as far as I know, some of those hiring managers, they also look into the person's Instagram, Facebook. They search for their name on the internet to see who they are, for sure. Like before anything, before even maybe calling them for an interview, because they want to be sure that it's the right cultural fit. Oh,
That's right. Yeah, and it's hard to know a lot of times what that is when you go to their website, because this is something again that I tell people is not only to have your own vision, your own mission statement, but to know what the company's is and understand how they match, how they align. And when you go to a company website, sometimes the company does a great job spelling it all out for you, like Blizzard. And then other times they just give you a few sentences and that's like, this is what, this is, we want to make great games for a ton, for people from every age or something, and it's very vague. So your job ends up becoming, how do I interpret the language they use to represent themselves in a way that aligns with me and that I can